Okay. Move the barrel out of the way. Grab a, here we go, a better device for opening this can. Anyway, what I'm going to do, what I've had soaking this can for almost a week, is the inner parts of this long rifle. It really, what happened to it all really wasn't all that pretty. There have been some interesting things to note as we went along. Let's put this clean side, and I'm gonna go generally first. There's your butt cap right here. It still bears marks on the back side that I'll document here in just a minute of having a hammer taken to it, and also a rat tail file. But I'm going to dry it off and clean it up a little bit first before I try to put that in front of the camera. This is a little piece of brass stock that was underneath the base of the base of the butt. And since I don't know a whole lot about these rifles, I'm going to call this the lock plate. The hammer fits on that right there, and that rotates. And the fun part about this is the machining there is really very tight. The back side of it is where there's a spring that goes here, and this is the actual lock for the hammer. And there's a problem going on here because two of the screws, one's been replaced and been peened in here with a pin by hand, and this screw right here, the head of it's broken. So anyway, I'll show you that in just a minute. Here's the trigger and the hair trigger assembly. It's in perfect condition, or at least in my estimation it's in perfect condition. Totally adjustable. All the screws work just right. I have not tried the big screw, but that's the screw that holds the spring down. So I haven't tried any of that yet. Okay, there goes another piece of the trigger, and there's the pin that holds it in right there. Yay! Glad I saw that. Holy crap! This is sort of interesting in that this is a piece of flat brass that's been hammered and chiseled, and anyway, it fits into its hole perfectly. But the fun part about it is it's not all brass. Okay, it's part of it is brass and part of it's steel. So the door is steel, but the plate itself is brass. Got a spring on the back. Spring's in great shape. But it's all hand hammered and hand cut out. It's just really cool. This is the lock plate from the other side, in great shape. It just needs polished. This is the nipple port. Threads look good, and where the nipple actually goes looks good. And there was also no ball and no patch in the bottom of this, no powder or anything, so it's really great that way. Here's the hammer. The hammer has a chunk taken out of the front of it, but that's okay too. Here's the spring for the hammer. This is the fun part about this is it's hand forged. Will says it's broken right there as well. I just don't know. Here's the screw that holds it all together. We don't know if that's a modern screw or not. It doesn't really look like it. And then here's the nipple for the percussion cap. Doesn't really look modern, but it's also mashed. As you can see there, it's not exactly round. I think I can fix that part, but I think before I do that, I'll set this to the side and actually put a modern nipple in there. And then There's a little cap screw that I forget exactly where. Oh, that holds the hammer on. So it's not exactly pretty. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the chemical dip back down here. I'm going to wipe my fingers off. Wipe my fingers off, then I'm going to start looking at these parts. Alright, there's that. We'll set this on the ground, out of harm's way. You also notice I got my little incense stick going there, sort of left over from the 70s. I like to come down here and get my chi on. Oh, let's step it up a little bit. All right. There we go. All right. I haven't polished this. I haven't touched it. It has some really interesting things going on with it. The part where this face meets the buttstock looks to have been cut with either a coping saw or some sort of a modern saw, maybe even sanded down. But it's all one direction. Doesn't have any curve to it, you know, from the saw blade. But the whole thing has marks all over it from being worked over with a file. And the other thing that's sort of fun about this is there's a number 2 right there. Number 2 right there. It's otherwise just a cast piece of brass, and it's got marks from a rat tail file all through it. Really rough in the casting there. Okay. So another piece of, actually I wanted a bin box is what I wanted. Let's do this. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort of try to document this as I dry them off, and I'm looking at them to make sure all this varnish is gone that had been sitting on them for 50 years or more. Again, my objective is to shoot this thing, but it may become obvious here that that's not the best idea as I go along. Anyway, so that's the cover for the patch box. And the patch box, as I was saying, is handcrafted. It bears marks of being hand worked, not only with a file, but also the hole that this door sits down into is not perfectly round at all. So it may have been done with a drill. It feels like the edges of a high-speed piece of steel drill. So it's rough. It's not smooth. The back of it is just forged, you know, cast brass, sorry, but it's beat up. That side's bent right there, and the edges show signs of either being hammered or chiseled. Okay. Same for the back side of the door. The back side of the door itself shows signs